Mark asked if I would maybe start mentioning things about the practice of jhana and what that actually is. There's a real interesting phenomena that's been happening in America for the last 30, 35 years. And that is the overdependence on commentary and taking that as what the Buddha is teaching as opposed to the actual suttas of what the Buddha is teaching. And because of that, there's been some very deep misunderstanding about what jhana is and what the practice is. People have the idea that jhana means concentration. Concentration doesn't lead to nibbana, a waste of time, don't do it. But that's not what the Buddha said. That comes from the commentary that divides insight meditation on one side and concentration practice on the other side, and the two shall never meet. I know this for a fact because I practiced that way for 20 years before I decided I wanted to find out more about what the Buddha said. Jhana does not mean concentration. Jhana means a level of your understanding. And because of the way the commentary is taught, what they do was they compartmentalized a lot of different teachings from the Buddha. But all of the Buddha's teachings, they go together. It's like weaving together a cloth. And you can't take one part out without affecting all the other parts. Now, I know for a fact, because of the way that I practiced, that a lot of people have the idea that the hindrances, when they arise, when you're doing your practice, there's something to fight. There's something to push away. There's something to stop, to run away from, because they really are troublesome. But actually, a hindrance is your teacher. A hindrance is your best friend, because it's showing you where your attachments are. And what is an attachment? What makes an attachment an attachment? I mean, these are all common words that everybody throws around, but what does it mean? For the last 15 years, I've been working a lot with Buddhist definitions. And the way I get my ideas about what the Buddha was talking about is by going to the suttas and seeing what the Buddha said was the definition. Attachment always means taking whatever arises as being personal. This is me, this is mine, this is who I am. It doesn't matter whether it's mental or physical. Anytime you take anything personally, then you are caught by an attachment. And this is what happens with every one of the hindrances. Now, I've been to Zen practices. I've been to all different kinds of practices. And the Zen say, well, you just have to drop your thinking and get clear mind. Okay. What does that mean? How do you do that? And you wind up developing a form of one-pointed concentration. One-pointed concentration is this. Your mind is on your object of meditation. It gets distracted. You let go of that distraction and immediately come back to your object of meditation. Okay? When you do that enough, you get into what is called access concentration, where the force of the concentration becomes strong enough that it pushes down the hindrances and doesn't allow them to come up at that time. But the real trouble is, when you lose that concentration, guess who comes to dinner? You have these hindrances that come at you, and it's not just because, or not just when you're sitting in meditation. You have hindrances coming up all the time. If you're not able to recognize the hindrances and to relax and let go of the hindrance, you're going to get very caught by it. And you're going to start fighting with it. And you're going to start taking it more and more personally. And you're going to cause yourself more and more pain. The whole point of the Buddha's practice is to learn how to let go of the pain. Let go of the suffering. What is suffering? Well, not getting what you want. That's suffering. Getting what you don't want. That's suffering. Every time you identify with a thought or feeling or sensation in your body and you take it personally, that's suffering. How do you let go of the suffering? Well, the Buddha was real big on this. He said, there's a cause of suffering, and the cause of suffering is craving. Now, what's craving? How does it manifest? Nobody. Okay. Craving.
Something, a feeling that I have to have this.
Six senses with attachment.
Okay, what's attachment? It's taking it personal.
Like or dislike?
Well, it's more than that. Well, it is that, but it's goes on a subtler level than what you're saying. Craving always manifests as tension and tightness in your mind and in your body. Okay. Always. Anytime you feel any tension in your mind or in your body, there is craving. Craving is the I like it, I don't like it mind. But the problem is, as soon as that craving is touched, right after that you have clinging. And the clinging are all of your thoughts and all of your opinions and all of your ideas and concepts and stories about why you don't like that feeling or why you do like that feeling. Clinging are all of the thoughts about. And the clinging is where the real big idea of this is me, this is mine, this is who I am, grabs on. Right after the clinging, then you have your habitual tendency. Your habitual tendency is, every time this kind of feeling arises, I always act that way. Now, this is an impersonal process, but we make it personal when we don't see the craving, and we don't see the clinging, and we don't see our habitual tendency, our want to make things different than they are. So, in the Anapanasati Sutta, in the Satipatthana Sutta, in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, there's a set of instructions. And they say if you're going to practice mindfulness of breathing, you have to follow these instructions. I had 20 years of having the Mahasatipatthana Sutta stuffed down my throat. Nobody ever gave me the instructions that says in the sutta what to do. They always gave me the instructions in how to practice mindfulness of breathing. Anytime there's a distraction, your mind gets pulled to it, you note that until it goes away and immediately come back to the breath. You're using the breath as your main object of meditation, like there's some kind of information in the breath. There's no information in the breath. The instructions in how to do the mindfulness of breathing meditation are very simple. There's only 4 sentences. You understand when you breathe in long. You understand when you breathe out long. You understand when you breathe in short. You understand when you breathe out short. What's the key word in this? Is it nostril? Is it nostril tip? Is it abdomen? Or is it understand? You understand what the breath is doing. You know when it's long, you know when it's short. You know when it's fast, you know when it's slow. You know when it's fine, you know when it's coarse. Okay? You know what the breath is doing. Now, nowhere in there did it mention any body part. Nowhere did it mention that this is all that you have to focus on. The next part of the instructions are where the real instruction begins. It says you train thus. You train this way. On the in-breath, you experience the entire body. Not body of breath, body, physical body. On the out-breath, you experience the entire physical body. The next part of the instructions, this is it. It says, on the in-breath, you tranquilize the bodily formation. On the out-breath, you tranquilize the bodily formation. Now, does that sound different than what most people have been practicing or teaching you to practice? If you don't have this step of relaxing on the in-breath and on the out-breath, and anytime there's a distraction, letting it go, relaxing, and coming back. If you don't practice like this, the end result is not the same as what the Buddha was talking about. It's that simple. This extra step that the Buddha put in is the thing that makes his kind of meditation different from anyone else's. And what is that extra step? Learning how to recognize when there is craving and let go of the craving. So, your one-pointed concentration, your mind is on your object of meditation, distraction. Let go of the distraction, come back. What are you bringing back to your object of meditation? Your attention with craving in it. So, when you're practicing this samatha vipassana meditation, your mind is on your object of meditation, it gets distracted. You notice that distraction and let it go. You notice the tightness caused by mind's attention moving from one thing to another. And you relax. When you relax right then, your mind is clear, Your mind doesn't have any thoughts in it. Your mind is pure. Why is it pure? Because you don't have any craving in it. Now you bring that mind back to your object of meditation. That one extra step, if you add that into your practice, will change your entire practice. And this is not a maybe. I see it happening all the time. There are some teachers that say, well, in the Anapanasati Sutta, it says that you have to you have to feel tranquil. That's what that sutta is saying. That's not what it means. The Pali is saying. There's a word in Pali called pasambaya. And it can be a verb, it can be a noun, it can be an adjective, it can be an adverb, depending on the context that it's used. And the context is, he trains thus. That means that this word to tranquilize is a verb. It's an action verb. It's something you have to do. You tranquilize on the in-breath, you tranquilize on the out-breath. Any kind of distraction, let go and tranquilize and come back to your object of meditation. You use the breath as the reminder to tranquilize on the in-breath and tranquilize on the out-breath. It's the reminder. You're not using the breath to focus deeply on. There's no information in the breath. Where you get information is when you start recognizing how mind's attention moves from one thing to another. Now, I was talking about the hindrances a little while ago. This is why the hindrances are so important and why we don't want to fight the hindrances when they come up. They're not the enemy. Your mind is on your object of meditation and everything is fine. And all of a sudden you start feeling restless, for instance. And your mind is distracted. Okay, so you notice the distraction and you relax and you come back to your object of meditation and it bounces back again. How did that happen? Now, if you were practicing with some teachers, they would say, why did that happen? But why is not something that we're interested in. We're interested in how the process works. So we let go of why, that we leave that for psychologists and therapists and that sort of thing. And we go into how did this process work? My mind was very calm and peaceful on the object of meditation. All of a sudden it's over here out in left field. How'd that happen? So, you let it go and you relax and you come back. And as you start to bounce back and forth with the hindrance, you start noticing things about this. Right before your mind gets really carried away, right before your mind really gets carried away for a period of time, you notice that there's something there. And so you relax and come back. And then when you notice that, you start letting that go and relaxing that. And coming back to your object of meditation. Always relaxing and bringing that relaxing mind back to your object of meditation. You purify your mind. You're bringing a pure mind back to your object of meditation. A mind that doesn't have any craving in it at that time. Now, craving is not particularly strong, but it is particularly persistent. It's always popping up. And it's subtle. Now, the tightness that I say it, excuse me, The tightness that I'm talking about, that you have to learn to recognize and relax into, is subtle. And it's tightness that happens in your head. It's in your brain. You have, your brain is like two parts, right? And you have a membrane that goes around your brain. Everybody's brain is head is the same way. Every time there is a distraction, there is a contraction of that membrane. You need to be able to realize that there is this slight tension. And when you let go of that tension in your head, you feel an opening. And then your mind becomes calm. And you bring that mind back to your object of meditation. Now, on the in-breath you relax, and on the out-breath you relax. Relax what? There's tensions and tightnesses in your head that you never knew that were there until you start looking at that. And we have two halves of our brain. There is another membrane that goes between these two halves. And as you start relaxing, you start feeling little tensions and tightnesses that start letting go. And as you do it more and more, you start going deeper and deeper. So you're on every in-breath and on every out-breath, even though you might not feel that there's any tension or tightness, there is some. And as you relax over and over again, it begins to let go more and more. The subtle little things begin to relax and let go of. One thing that I add to the practice that is not in the suttas, but I found it to be very helpful, more than a little helpful. And I had 20 years of Vipassana practice. I went through all of the insight knowledges. I know all of that stuff very well. But I had 20 years of watching other people do retreats, drowning. Really a sour face. Trying hard, concentrating, although the concentration was in the wrong way. So I got tired of that. By nature, I'm more of a goof-off, I guess. I like to laugh, and I like to smile, and I like things to be as easy as they can. And I found out that when I smiled while I was meditating, that there was some wonderful things that actually happened in my mind. While you're sitting in meditation and you smile, your mind naturally becomes lighter. When you have a lighter mind, your mind is more observant. Your awareness is quicker. Now, if you don't believe me, hang on to some anger for a while and see how sharp your awareness is. It just doesn't do so good. So when you start smiling with your practice and smile into your hindrances, then you start noticing that you don't take them so personally. And you start noticing that this is just part of a process. And you start having fun with the meditation. Has anybody else heard that expression, fun and meditation, in the same sentence?
You.
Yeah. And this practice gets to be fun because as you go deeper into the practice, you start letting go of the hindrances more quickly, more easily. And what are you really doing? You're letting go of your attachment, of your personal belief that these feelings that came up, they're me, they're mine, and that's who I am. As you let them go, there's real relief. Now, you'll work with the same hindrance for a period of time. When you let go of that hindrance, the relief is immediate and wonderful. You feel great. And right after that, you have a lot of joy arising. Now, how many people have been told when you have joy, don't be attached? I had that one for 20 years. I know that one. Well, you don't have to be attached to joy any more than you have to be attached to pain. It's just a feeling, right? Painful feeling, joyful feeling, same coin, different sides. Treated in the same way. When the joy arises, allow it to be there, relax into it, come back to your object of meditation. Now, the kind of joy you feel is, it will make you smile. There's such relief the first time you work with the hindrance and let go of the hindrance that it's amazing. After a period of time, that joy will fade away by itself. On the other side of the joy, you feel very tranquil. You feel really, really comfortable in your mind and in your body. You can still have some distracting thoughts come in, but you see them really quickly, and it's almost without any effort. You know, you see it, you let it be, you relax, come smile and come back. And your mind stays on your object of meditation, nicely, with almost no effort. I just described to you the first jhana. I just described to you how to get to the first jhana. It's easy. Now, what's the advantage of getting into the jhana? Well, when you start really studying the suttas, I do weird things sometimes, like if I'm looking for a particular word, I'll start counting how many times I've seen it. And I counted in the entire Tipitaka, well, not the entire Tipitaka, I didn't do it in the Abhidhamma, that's Abhidhamma. But there's mention of Vipassana 100 times. And about 80 of those times, the word Vipassana is mentioned with the word Samatha in the same sentence. And then I started looking at how many times the word jhana was being used by the Buddha. And I stopped after a few thousand times. Now, what do you think the Buddha talked about? He talked about jhana. Why did he talk about jhana? Because that's the path that leads to Nibbana. That's the path that he taught almost everyone. The mindfulness of breathing meditation is mentioned 8 times in the suttas. Loving kindness meditation is mentioned many hundreds of times. Which do you think he taught most? The one he talked about most. The one he saw the most advantage for. But he had to talk about the mindfulness of breathing because that's a meditation that everybody can get benefit from. Loving kindness meditation, even though you might not like the idea, is not suitable for every kind of personality. I won't teach some people loving kindness meditation, although I like to teach loving kindness meditation more than I like to teach mindfulness of breathing. But it's not for everyone. I just got back from Germany, and we had 20 or 25 people that were coming for a one-week retreat. They all had practiced mindfulness of breathing. I looked at them and I said, you've all been practicing this breathing meditation and you've been doing it the way of one-pointed concentration. I don't want you to do that anymore. I want you to practice loving kindness meditation. A lot of resistance in that. Oh, I know the breathing meditation. Yeah, and you've developed bad habits. And it's real hard to let go of those bad habits. And because it's such a natural thing that when you go deep enough, all of a sudden you're staying on the breath and you're not relaxing anymore. So I say, okay, all you folks, you get to do loving kindness meditation. You have to start over again at ground one. And after the grumbles and somebody drink for me? I just heard something. What is it? Anyway, by the second day, I'm seeing people smiling and they're starting to get into their practice a little bit. And by the third day, they're all starting to radiate this wonderful glow of loving kindness. And by the end of the retreat, almost half of the people had not just gotten into jhana. Everybody got into jhana. That's easy. Half of the people had become advanced meditators. An advanced meditator is somebody that has experienced the fourth jhana. Now they had all of this.
In that retreat?
Yes. Yes. In a week. The advantage of practicing loving kindness meditation is that you progress in your meditation faster with loving kindness than you do with any other kind of meditation. It's amazing to watch. And I'm getting spoiled enough by the students that come through. If they don't get into the jhana by the third or fourth day, I'm starting to go, why not? What's the matter here? A jhana is a stage of understanding. Understanding what? How your mind's attention moves from one thing to another. The hindrance is your teacher. The hindrance is your best friend. Because your hindrance, when it comes up, it really grabs you. This is where my attachment is, and it yells it at you. And then you learn how that process works. I'm on my object of meditation. Now I'm over here on this hindrance. Whoa, how'd that happen? See, with Buddhism, it's always how. How does this process work? Somebody at the retreat asked me what the Buddha said you should look for in a teacher, and what kind of teaching you should look for from that teacher. And he gave very clear, short directions on that. He basically said, you look for someone who knows and understands, and can explain how dependent origination works. It's that simple. Now, I've been talking about dependent origination to you. I haven't told you that's what it is, but I've been talking about it. I've been talking about the Four Noble Truths to you. I haven't told you that's what it is, but that's what I've been talking about. Dependent origination is how the process works. You have 6 sense doors, you have contact. With contact as condition, feeling arises. Feeling is painful, pleasant, neither painful nor pleasant. That's all. With feeling as condition, craving arises. Craving is always tension and tightness. I like it, I don't like it, mine. With craving as condition, clinging arises. All of your story, all of your concepts, all of your opinions, all of your really heavy identification with. These are my ideas, they're my concepts, this is how it works. That can cloud the way you see things. With clinging as condition, habitual tendency arises. In Pali, they call it bhava. I had some fairly major discussions with both Bhikkhu Bodhi and my spiritual father. He was a monk that just died not too long ago. His name was Usilananda. About the use of habitual tendency rather than experience. Because that's the way it's always translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi as experience. Bhikkhu Bodhi didn't like habitual tendency, Usilananda did. So I got a split decision there. What am I going to do with that? I tend more towards the habitual tendency because it's easier to understand. With habitual tendency as condition, you have birth of action. With birth of action as condition, you have death. You have sorrow, you have lamentation, you have pain, you have grief, you have despair. That's how this whole mass of suffering comes to be. That's dependent origination. I just gave it. So the Buddha said, anytime you can find a teacher that knows and understands dependent origination, then you should go to him, see how it works, and start practicing with him. Practice seeing how the dependent origination actually works in your life. That is the key to a successful practice. And that is why these people in Germany did so well with the meditation. They had good concentration already. They already had their practices. They've been practicing for 5 years, 8 years, 12 years, like that. But when I added this extra step of let go of the craving, let go of this tension and tightness, and I had them change from the habitual tendency of doing the practice this way with the mindfulness of breathing. Now you got to do it this way with the loving kindness. Well, it's hard at first. Not used to that at first. Kind of resent the idea that I can't stay on my breath like I'm used to. But when you start getting into your heart and start radiating that feeling into another person, your understanding becomes very, very sharp. When I teach loving kindness meditation, of course, I teach that you got to smile. How can you give something if you haven't got it? So you got to smile. And the more you smile, the more you feel this loving kindness, the easier it is to give it away. You see, when the Buddha was talking about meditation, he wasn't talking just about sitting. He was talking about an engaged kind of practice that you take with you off the cushion and carry with you all the time. What's easier than taking your smile off of the cushion and carrying it with you all the time and giving it away? The first part of the meditation, the Buddha said, was generosity. Oh, generosity always means I got to dig into my pocket for some coin to throw in a box. No. Generosity is having pleasant thoughts and giving them away. Having kind speech and giving it away. Having kind thoughts all the time. Smiling as much as you can and give that smile away. That's the first part of meditation. It's easy. Except when it's hard. The second part of the meditation is something that an awful lot of people, they really don't like to talk about it. Especially in this country. You got to practice your morality. You got to keep your 5 precepts. And this doesn't mean, once in a while. This means all the time. If you don't keep your precepts, sitting in meditation is a waste of time. Because you're going to be attacked by all kinds of hindrances. What causes hindrances to arise? Breaking the precepts. Don't kill or harm living beings on purpose. Don't take anything that's not given. Don't have any wrong sexual activity. The next one, biggie. Don't tell lies. Don't use harsh speech. That means cursing. Don't slander. Slander means trying to divide one group from another. Don't gossip. What is gossip? Give me a good definition. What is gossip? Well, that's
idols.
But the gossip is making up stories that aren't true and telling other people as if they were true. Okay, that's gossip. Don't take any drugs or alcohol. No, this doesn't mean medicine. And this is when I should give you the story of my friend in Australia. He wrote and told me he's been practicing mindfulness of breathing for 6 years. And his mind is very stable on his breath. He's practicing absorption concentration. But he said, there's something missing in the practice. And I can't bring my practice into my daily life. There's something that's not working. So he wrote to me and he said, what do you think? And I said, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you try practicing putting that extra step of relaxing on the in-breath, relaxing on the out-breath. Wrote a brilliant thing to him telling him, this is what you ought to do. So a week later he writes back and I said, well, how's it going? And he says, no difference. And I said, "You're not relaxed." "Well, I kind of forget. I get so deep in my concentration, I just don't do it." "Okay. I want you to change your meditation. I want you to do loving kindness meditation." Gave him the instructions in a loving kindness meditation. He writes back the next day, "No, this is not right. My mind's moving around all over the place. There's all kinds of problems with this. I don't want to do this." "No, you got to do it." And he was kicking and screaming for a week. "Oh, this is too hard. I can't get focused." All of this nonsense stuff. So finally, I said, "Enough. I want you to do this practice. And that means I don't want you to sit and meditate for a full week. I don't want you to do any kind of meditation. What I want you to do is smile for 1 week into everything. And when you can't smile, I want you to laugh." That's all I told him. So a week goes by and I don't hear from him. And I'm thinking, oh, well, there he goes. And then he writes back. And he said, "I really took to heart what you said. And I tried it. These are some of the things that I noticed. My mindfulness has improved so much that it's unbelievable. I'm able to see what my mind is doing in the present moment so much more quickly." He said, "Always before, I was walking around, my head was down, I was walking in my mental haze, going from here to there, doing this or that, always in this mental haze. When I started smiling, my posture started coming up a little bit, and I started looking around a little bit more. And something really strange happened. When I smiled at people, they started smiling back. This never happened before. And they actually started coming up closer to me and talking with me. That never happened. Even when I didn't feel like smiling, I smiled and gained benefit from it. My mind was more uplifted, more clear. So he has all of these advantages of doing his daily practice, his daily activities, with a light mind. See, the thing is, the more you can develop joy in your life, in your daily activities, the more you develop that, the sharper your mindfulness becomes, and the more you see the heaviness come and start to pull you down. How many times have you done a whole bunch of meditation and you get out of the meditation and somebody comes up and they're all excited about something and you said, "Leave me alone, I just got done meditating"? Do you notice that as aversion? Do you notice that dislike? Do you notice how your mind closes down? Well, that's the opposite of what the Buddha is talking about. There's no mindfulness there because all of a sudden your mind shut down. You're going back into your old craving, your old clinging, your old habitual tendency, your old pains, your old demands that reality be the way you want it to be when you want it that way. I don't want much. Right? when you start practicing smiling more, you start seeing these kind of patterns and you can start letting them go. If you don't put a smile in your practice, your progress in the meditation is slow. When I got these Germans, I mean, think about it, Germans, smiling. I mean, their faces just became radiant. It was wonderful to walk in the meditation room because there was such lightness there. There wasn't this heavy German push and you gotta do it this way. There wasn't any of that. There was a fluid feeling. There was a nice feeling in the room. If they can do it, I figure anybody can do it. And because of that, they were extremely successful. Now, sometimes people say, well, you want me to change my meditation, that means I have to start all over again. You've already got a base of practice. You have a base of discipline. All I'm suggesting is adding a little bit to it. Add that relaxed step with the smile. And see how your practice goes. If you don't let go of the craving, your concentration will get deeper and deeper and eventually suppress the hindrances. You'll never get to experience an unconditioned state with the condition of suppression. One of the things that's real important to realize is that while you're doing the practice, while you're letting go of this craving, you start letting go of the want to control. The want to control is a tight mind. I want things to be the way I want them to be, when I want them that way. And when it doesn't match your wants, how much suffering do you cause yourself because of that? See, the whole thing with the meditation is as you go deeper into meditation, your mind starts getting more balanced all the time. Now, this is not just while you're sitting. This is a practice of life. Living with a more and more balanced mind means that you will be more uplifted and happy and at ease. That's what the Buddha is teaching. So, adding this extra step of relaxing into your practice, it can be easy or it can be difficult depending how long you've been doing the practice. If you find that you want to add it in but you keep forgetting about it, think about changing your practice. It's still the same thing. The loving kindness is still working with letting go of the tensions and tightnesses just like you do with any other kind of practice. Your progress is faster because your mind is much lighter. Your mind is much more at ease. Now, one of the things that I've been noticing and reading the Buddhist magazines and stuff from IMS and IMW and all of these places, they're really big on you should practice the Brahma Viharas. Now, let's sit down and practice loving kindness for 5 minutes and compassion for 5 minutes and joy for 5 minutes and then equanimity for 5 minutes. That's not how you do practice. Loving kindness Because of the commentary, you think loving kindness takes you to the third jhana, and that's as high as you can get with loving kindness. You practice compassion to the third jhana, that's as high as you can get with compassion. You practice joy to the third jhana, and that's as high as you can get with joy. You practice equanimity to the fourth jhana, that's as high as you can get with that. That is not what it says in the suttas. That's what it says in the commentaries. When I teach people loving kindness, I'm kind of a sneaky monk. I don't tell people everything that they're doing or why. I try to let them to figure it out by themselves. When you practice loving kindness, you practice loving kindness to the fourth jhana. When you get to experience compassion, that's the first arupa jhana. You heard of infinite compassion? Mahayanas are real big on talking about that. Well, actually, it's a little bit mixed up. It's compassion in infinite space. You keep practicing more, your practice changes from the compassion to the joy, and you start experiencing infinite consciousness. You keep practicing more, your practice goes from infinite consciousness to the realm of nothingness, and this is where the equanimity is. The Buddha taught this more, the four Brahma Viharas. He taught that more than he did mindfulness of breathing. You know the Kalama Sutta, that famous sutta that the Buddha says that don't do this and don't do that. It's only this, it's only that. Well, you only see the first part of that sutta. You never get to notice the next part of the sutta that's teaching you the Brahma Viharas. The Brahma Viharas are very important. They will not take you all the way to Nibbana. They will take you to the realm of nothingness. Yes.
That's not in the suttas, right?
Of course it is. Samyutta Nikaya, page 1607. Yes.
The Brahma's will take you to the... Because when I've heard the Rupa Jhanas before, it's when you focus on, for example, I remember, focus, for example, on space, you focus on consciousness.
No, you don't focus on any of the Brahma Viharas. They happen by themselves.
No, I'm saying, when he discusses the Rupa Jhanas, he tends to say focus. I remember he uses this from suttas I've read, I'm not saying they're wrong. He focus on space, focus on consciousness.
Well, he's not actually saying focus, he's saying pay attention to this is what happens when. It's 1607, page 1607. I use that a lot. But what happens once you get to the deeper stages of the equanimity is that mind will become so subtle that you can't tell whether it's actually there or not. And this is called neither perception nor non-perception. Now, you don't know you're in this state until you get out of this state. And then you start reflecting of what happened while you were sitting. And you'll see that there were things that were happening. By this time, it's an automatic that you're relaxing. You're relaxing all the time. Anytime there's even the slightest little movement of mind's attention, there's a recognize and a relax. The jhanas go like this. In the first jhanas, or even before that, your mind is flip-flopping around quite a bit. As you go into the jhanas, the big movements stop. And then it gets to be less and less, and you get to the fourth jhana, where it's not so much movement anymore as it's vibration. And as you go deeper in the jhanas, the vibration becomes subtler and subtler and subtler, until finally you can't tell whether it's really moving or not. And when you come out of that state, you reflect what happened in that state. Yeah, there's still things that are happening. There's still feeling. There's still some perception, but not a lot. As you keep relaxing, eventually mind stops. And this is called the cessation of perception and feeling. There's no mind's attention moving at all.
Many times I take my midday lay down, and I don't know how to have such a concentration, relaxed concentration.
If you don't know, the answer is yes. Now, when you come out of this cessation of perception and feeling, and you get perception and feeling coming up again, you see the links of dependent origination. You see it's like everything stopped and now it's starting up again, and your awareness is sharp enough that you see each one of the links and how they arise, and you see how they cease. And when you get to the final letting go of ignorance, which means now you truly understand the Four Noble Truths, there's an oh wow that happens. You've taught yourself, going from jhana to jhana. Every depth of jhana is another understanding of how dependent origination works. And now you see it firsthand. It just happens really quickly by itself. And that understanding causes a real explosion to happen in your mind. The light bulb is real big. That goes off. And right after that, Nibbana occurs. Nibbana occurs through your understanding of the process of dependent origination. And that's the only way it occurs. While I was in Germany, there was an intellectual type of person that had been practicing meditation a little bit, but more study. He kept on telling me that the way the suttas talk about Nibbana, you get to Nibbana by seeing anicca, dukkha, and anatta. You can see anicca, dukkha, and anatta without ever seeing dependent origination. If you see dependent origination, you always see anicca, dukkha, anatta. Seeing just anicca, dukkha, anatta does not take you straight to Nibbana. Okay. Okay. Everything is change. Everything is a form of unsatisfactoriness. Now, you heard me talking about vibrations and mind movements and all of that. There's a certain unsatisfactoriness that causes, that arises because of that. We're always looking for that ultimate peace and quiet and calm. Because there is always this movement, there is some unsatisfactoriness. And everything is an impersonal process. So it's seeing everything as impermanent, unsatisfactory, and impersonal. But you can see those characteristics without seeing dependent origination. But anytime you see dependent origination, you always see those characteristics. Always. It's not a maybe. You really see it, and you understand it. So this is different. And this intellectual kept on coming up with, well, in this sutta it says that you get there by seeing anicca, dukkha, anatta. And that's just from his misunderstanding of dependent origination. Because there's a lot of suttas, and I don't mean a few, I mean there's a lot of suttas. There's 84 suttas on dependent origination just in one section of the Samyutta Nikaya. And it says there very plainly, if you don't see all of the links of dependent origination, you will not attain Nibbana. But if you do, you will. It's that plain. It's that simple. I can show it to you. I know this kind of shoots a hole in some things that you might have heard from other teachers. But when you start really getting into the suttas and start understanding it through your own direct experience, all doubt in what I'm saying will disappear. And I don't want you to believe anything I say. I really don't. Don't believe a word of it. Go try and see yourself. See if it works. I have friends that have been practicing meditation for 20, 25 years, and they're stuck in their meditation, and they come and they say, there's got to be something more to this meditation. So I tell them, try this extra step, see what happens. They come back and go, geez, I had no idea the meditation would go so deep so quickly. It's so much deeper than anything I've ever experienced before. And I'm talking about people and monks that have gone into the arupa jhanas. And now it's fun. I'm talking about people that are really serious about the practice, but they haven't been taught that extra step of relaxing. And I know that there's some teachers that they'll talk about surface relaxing. Well, just feel relaxed while you're doing the practice. No, that's not it. You have to intentionally, purposefully relax the tension and tightness on the in-breath, relax the tension and tightness on the out-breath. There's a distraction, let go of the distraction. Relax the tension and tightness caused by mind's attention moving there. Bring back that mind that has no craving in it to your object of meditation. You know, one of the things that the Buddha talked about, and monks chant whenever they get together and chant, they chant about the Dhamma. They chant about how the Dhamma is immediately effective. This practice will show you that that's right. It is immediately effective. You start feeling a sense of relief when you put that relaxed step into your practice. And you start progressing faster than you ever dreamed possible. So, I've been talking for a long time. Do you have any questions? Comments? Yeah.
I'm used to thinking in terms of the 4 types of Arya Purnama and the 10 feathers. And comments on that vis-a-vis what you just said.
Well, according to the suttas, when you're talking about the different stages of sainthood, you can become a Sotapanna by listening to a Dhamma talk. You can become a Saktagami by listening to a Dhamma talk. Can't go any deeper than that by listening to Dhamma. I'll tell you an experience I had. There's one sutta in the Middle Link sayings that is incredibly powerful. It's called the 6 Sets of 6. And I had someone read out the whole thing in German. Now these people were all sitting there and they were, you could hear a pin drop while he was reading it. And right after the talk got over, I very quietly said, "Now I want you to not talk to each other. I don't want you to do anything but sit." The next day, 2 or 3 of the people who had about the same experience, they didn't have any idea how deep they could go just by listening to a Dhamma talk, and it changed their consciousness. Just by listening. So the more attentive you are when you're listening to Dhamma talk. I know an awful lot of people, they like to fidget a little bit and move their body around, but these people in that during that talk, I mean, they didn't move. The biggest movement they had was blinking their eyes. You could feel the force and power of that Dhamma talk with these people, and it changed all of them in the way that they approached the practice. Yeah.
That particular person wrote a note saying about his practice.
Well, that's one of them. Yeah. Okay.
If you don't mind, I'll read it in his words.
Good.
He wrote us, Robert, right?
Yeah.
He wrote us about his experience, and he has a really nice way with words. So, he says, let's see. It was a great blessing for us to have him here in Germany. This retreat was so much better than, he mentions another one. The main reason is Bhante's unique method and its hard work in giving every retreat individual advice according to their understanding and practice. Bhante taught us his metta meditation method. That was new to me because so far I had practiced his breath meditation technique with great results in Thailand, by the way. So at first it was a bit difficult for me to change the meditation object. But on the 6th day of the retreat, I had an unexpected breakthrough. After I had read the German version of the 6 Sets of 6 to the retreatants in the evening and went back to my meditation cushion, my mind became very light, very calm, and very happy. I didn't have to care about meditation technique anymore at all. There was only the clear understanding and feeling that the Buddhist instructions were complete and perfect. The cessation of dukkha is possible. We can reach the other shore. There was also a kind of pity, or rather compassion, for those people who try to find happiness through sense, pleasures, and mental things. The sutta, as you know, is a very powerful one. I was completely surprised by its effect. part of it may be due to the many repetitions. So, anyway, I thought he said it beautifully.
Yeah.
So.
With the loving kindness practice, one just focuses on the heart.
Well, it focuses on the heart and putting your spiritual friend in your heart, surrounding them with the feeling of love and giving them a heart up, and then radiating that feeling. One of the things with the loving kindness meditation, and I'll finish your question, is that right now it's being taught as a kind of mantra, just repeating things over and over and over and over. And the Buddha wasn't interested in mantras. When I teach loving kindness, I tell you that the wish that you make for your spiritual friend, you have to feel that wish. If you make a wish for their peace and happiness, you have to feel that peace and happiness. Put that feeling in your heart. Surround your friend with that feeling of peace and happiness, and then radiate that feeling to them. Now, the wish can be anything that's appropriate in the present moment. If your friend is going through a very rough time, and you know their mind is very active, then you wish for a peaceful, calm mind, an accepting mind, a mind that has no resistance to what's happening in the present moment. So the wish can be any kind of wish you want to make that feels right in the moment. Don't repeat the wish over and over in your mind. Say the wish one time. Feel the wish. Keep that feeling going as long as you can. And then when that feeling fades, make another wish. It can be the same wish or not. But it doesn't have to do with by rote saying something over and over and over again. Because when you do that, then you start thinking underneath that. And that's not real meditation. See, when I take you into a retreat, I want you doing that all the time. You don't put your attention on your feet while you're walking. You keep your attention on your friend, on that wish. Keep that smile going.
It's like the power of intention.
Of course. But you have this added to it.